Okay, well, it's 11 o'clock and let's get started. My name is Jan Schmitz and I'm from the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group. It's December 9th and thank you for coming to our 9th installment of our weekly Aging with Pride discussion group for the LGBTQ2S plus seniors and their allies. Thank you too to our partners SAGE and the Pride Center of Edmonton. Before we begin our discussion today, I must acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 6 territory and respect the histories, the languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our lives. As a reminder, this session is being recorded, so if you have a problem, you may want to turn your camera off. So let's begin our open discussion. Larry, how did you hear about Aging with Pride?
I've been involved for quite a period now with the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group and with Aging with Pride. So I'm not going to try to give you a step-by-step account about how this developed, but let me just say that there are really two principal streams of work that Pride Center or that Pride Seniors Group has been doing. One is concerned with housing, and you've heard earlier from both Michael Fair and Blair McKinnon about our progress, and it's real progress on that task. The other big component, and obviously related, has to do with education and advocacy to ensure that not only is there a GLBT2S plus specific thing, but that all seniors serving organizations and all seniors residences have policies and practices that recognize diversity and value inclusion. In looking at my notes here, in 2017, we heard about the Pegasus program, which is a consortium attempting to deal with social isolation among seniors. Now, Pegasus, for those of you who like to know your acronyms, is Pan-Edmonton Group to address social isolation of seniors. That initial vision statement, at least the one that I've seen, doesn't specifically include queer seniors. So we took that, and specifically, I think Michael took that as an opportunity to invite ourselves into the conversation. And that's really where Aging with Pride started, in this effort to address social isolation, specifically among queer seniors. And we were able to obtain some federal funding for that project, and that took the form of what we have called the Tri-Cities funding, which dealt with programs in Winnipeg, Saskatoon, and Edmonton, and in each city doing a project that they felt would work in their community. There was no attempt to sort of get some overarching commonality or but individual programs. The only commonality would have been the basic effort to reduce social isolation. We started in partnership with the Senior Center Without Walls, which was one of the initial Pegasus partners, through Southside Primary Care Network. And despite the enthusiastic support of Heather Drouin, I've forgotten her married name, I'm sorry, but with Heather's support and her staff's support, we tried for about a year to make this telephone-based program work. In truth, we never did, and I'm not sure why, but when we called around, we found certainly there were queer seniors in general groups, but the GLBTQ specific focused didn't seem to work at all well, even in a city like San Francisco with a huge and well-organized queer community. There seemed to be minimal interest. We had a facilitator through Pride Center of Edmonton, but when he became unavailable for personal reasons, the program really fell into abeyance, and I would have to say it had at best over its year a sort of half-life. It really was never clearly a success. The other program, local program that we were aware of was one that had been organized by the late Jeff Bovey, whom a number of you, I expect, know. And this was initially at Pride Center and then at Sage, and was called Under the Rainbow. And really, this was an unstructured drop-in, essentially, in which Jeff and other people met 3 times a week, as it happened, and met in person, actually, for the most part at Sage. It was a success in that it was adequately attended. The strawberry tea that the group did in Pride Week was always a particular success and quite enjoyable. So we had that idea, and we thought we would start off with an in-person program, and that we would have Zoom as an alternative. The pandemic, the arrival of Delta variant, put pause to those ideas. And at the moment, our Aging with Pride can only be done by Zoom, but we are still hopeful that we can add an in-person coffee club for those who wish it at Sage when the pandemic permits. We prefer to have some structure, and I think our success with this one has borne that out, so that we are really grateful to the speakers who have come in and talked about subjects of interest and importance to the community. And then I'm equally grateful to the audience that there's been a usually stimulating discussion after the talks. It's really important, I think, to emphasize that this is a program with more than one point of entry. The Sage, Pride Center, and Edmonton Seniors Group all participate in the oversight of the program. And there will be some people who will be known to Sage and are happy coming in through Sage, other people who are comfortable through Pride Center of Edmonton, and that recognition that we are both part of a larger seniors community as queer seniors, and also part of a larger queer community as queer seniors. It's important that we get both of those there, and I've really been delighted that the organizations are really very helpful. So that's a long answer, and I didn't add, but I've given some of it. So over to you and the audience, Jan.
Thank you, Larry. So I'll answer that question. How did I hear about Aging with Pride? And I learned about it from Larry when he was trying to facilitate the Seniors Without Walls, which was a phone-in kind of session for LGBTQ isolated seniors. So I've learned much from Mr. Jewell, and it's truly a treat to work with him. So we'd like to hear from all of you. How did you hear about Aging with Pride? And please feel free to speak. Go ahead, Eric, please.
Well, when I retired in 2007, I started to go to the drop-ins at the Pride Center, which Jeff was facilitating. And it was great. The side benefit is that if I cook brownies or cookies, I eat them all. But in this case, I could bake some cookies, sample one or two just for quality control to make sure that they were, suitable for presentation, and then take them up to the Pride Center and other people would eat them. So I'm looking forward to the chance to be able to do that again. But in the meantime, I think that these weekly sessions are fantastic, and really the whole idea is to build a sense of community and connection, because the social isolation for seniors is a big issue to begin with, but for people in our community, it's even a bigger problem. So I'm really enthusiastic, and thank you both for your contributions to this, the effort on this.
Well, thank you, Eric. Joan, I see you put your hand up. How did you hear about Aging with Pride?
I heard about this through the Edmonton housing group, the Pride housing group, and then specifically from you, Jan. And I gotta say, I've been blown away. Like, the speakers have been incredible. I'm going to be taking part, but they're tough acts to follow, I can tell you. But I've really been so impressed. I did take part in the Seniors Without Walls as well, and I did something at I think it was an offshoot of that, at the Sherwood Park Library, where I went and sat there and people could come and talk to an old queer. And they were okay. I don't know, apart from my attendance there, how long it ran, but I thought it was minimal. Like, there wasn't a lot of attendance, but I find these sessions have been great. And I don't know if it's because of the format, whether people are leaning towards this more now. I sure like it. And I just hope it continues. And good on you guys. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Joan. Anyone else? And I must confess, I don't have the chat box open, so I can't see if you've raised your hand or sent in a written message. Maybe Kim can teach me how to do that for the next session, how to have the chat and the PowerPoint presentation going. I see Roy. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I got to know more of this Aging with Pride through Michael Fair. I've known Michael for years and years, and meeting him on the street, we started talking about the possibility of building a seniors complex for gay and lesbians and associates. And I have a lot of banking experience in my past career. I've recently retired, so I said, of course, I would review the proposal and see what input I could help with. And through that, I got in touch with going and becoming involved with these Zoom sessions, and I have enjoyed them immensely. I found it very informative. I am not one that has been overly involved with the gay community as a whole, although I've lived my entire life in Edmonton. I have a partner, Jan, that you may remember, that it's Barry Stinson, and we've been together for like 36 years, and we just kind of go about our business. But it's been a delight to see and hear from all various types of people that are involved with the community and what offers there are. I've been totally enlightened by what the Pride Center is offering, because it's something that I was not as engaged with as I should have been. So I've enjoyed everything thus far, and would certainly invite staying on with sessions that you have. And if I can contribute, I certainly would entertain that as a volunteer of some nature. So I'm just trying to suss that out. I do a lot of volunteering already. So my retirement hasn't been quite what I envisioned since the pandemic and my retirement, but it is what it is. And so we'll take it one day at a time.
Thank you, Roy. We'll get you to work volunteering for sure. Not sure how yet, but Michael took note of that. Anyone else want to answer that question? Okay, we'll move on then.
Kim, if you could put the next question forward. And I'll ask you first, Jan, what, in your view, have been the most successful programs to date? What are the components that have made a particular talk successful?
Well, I think some of you have been to every single one of the sessions that we've had, and some have been to a few. I've been lucky to have been at all of them, and I think the most successful program that I saw to date has been the media interest that was generated when Murray Billett and Jackie Ford spoke to us. I think that kind of free advertising on CBC radio did just put our program on another level. I was just thrilled to see that. Another success that I'm watching in the background is how we are growing with our participants. I think it was the second session where we had interprovincial participation. I think it was our fourth session where we had someone from Texas join us, so we became international. I think that's very satisfying from my perspective on successful programming.
Thank you very much, Jan. I think my other comment, firstly, all of the programs to date, I believe, have been successful. The ones that have particularly moved me are the ones in which people have shared their personal story, not just biographical details, but have talked about how they have been able either to overcome discrimination and prejudice or have used their queer status to really in a life enhancing way. And those are, they're just very life affirming programs. And I would think specifically, I think of Georgette Reed and John McDougall, both of whose talks I found particularly moving. I can see the chat room, but would anyone else like to say what in the programs we have done to date they have found particularly useful, either specific programs or simply talking about the features that you found fine? And I see Roy's hand.
So what really intrigued me, and maybe it's because of my personal aging, was I'm very, very interested in pursuing and having built a building for gay and lesbian associate seniors. I think that's a very exciting idea to push forward. I'd like to see what has happened to date and the involvement from the community to make this happen. It's amazing. It surprised me to hear that there was really nothing else in Canada that is like it. And I think as our population are aging, certainly I have lots of friends that are starting to reach that seniors point that they say, really, I didn't realize that we were even entertaining such a thing. And certainly they would be interested, not yet, but in time. So I think it has lots of uptake and lots of appeal. And I really, really hope that we can pursue that further. So those sessions that involve that concept, I have found very, very interesting and enlightening.
Thank you, Roy. Let me say you weren't the only one. The best attended of the various meetings was certainly Blair McKinnon's on the housing project. And it's our intent as the group makes progress to give you regular updates on that topic specifically as well. Are there any other?
Yes,
Michael.
Yes, Michael Fair. First of all, I've been. I think one of the other things that's made it successful is that that the sessions have run smoothly. The PowerPoints have worked. Everyone's able to hear everyone else. there's been no issues with that at all, and that's a miracle from my perspective. Since I do some of these, and I always run into issues of being able to do that. So I think that's been helpful. They've consistently, started and ended. Pretty much just on the times that were said, with very little difficulties, everything has gone well. I also, I was surprised. That's why I think successful that with Eric's talking about the scams and the rest, I thought was very well done. And it was like, I've had every one of those scams as well, been tried on me as well. I was absolutely amazed when he went through it to realize how general that is and how how it does take people in. And I can appreciate that and being a little bit more knowledgeable in watching them. At the same time, I would say that the quality has been good in all of the sessions. And that too. So I think that's another part of it. That's worked well. And I think that the two of you, Larry and Jan, have made sure that folks were, prepared to do the work well and give them a little idea of what was wanted and tell them to not talk too long and leave room for someone else to ask questions and the rest. So I think that's been helpful as well. I think people have felt there's kind of a structure they need to follow, and they have done that. So thanks.
Thank you, Michael. And I think neither Jan nor I will take credit for the programs going smoothly. Kim Loreen really has worked very well and in getting this going smoothly, and at the same time has done signing. Which I'm not sure that we've needed it, but I think it's a very important signal of our commitment to inclusivity to include that. So, so thank you again, Michael. Are there other?
Just one more thing,
Eric,
sort of off topic, but one of the other projects of the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group, which has been sort of on hold for the last COVID time, was doing general education. And Larry and Michael and myself and Sydney Goss and a few others have talked at conferences and have also done presentations to seniors living communities, both to the administration of them and to the residents of them, just to provide education about what experiences people in our community have, what experiences we've had over our lives, and why that might affect the way we interact with other people in a congregate housing situation. But I think that's once we are free to gather again, that is something that we are going to relaunch, because there are an awful lot of seniors living in Greater Edmonton Foundation homes, in other homes, who really need that support. And so I'll probably be reaching out for more volunteers. I'm not quite as good at nailing volunteers as Michael is, or corralling volunteers as Michael is, but I do try to do my best. But I just wanted to mention that's another thing that has been sort of in abeyance for the past 2 years, but we really look forward to getting it forward again, because no matter where they are, we want seniors to be treated with respect and dignity.
Thank you, Eric. Are there other people who wish to comment on this question? If so, just raise your hand. And I don't see any further questions, so we will go over to you, Jan.
Sure, in keeping with what Michael had mentioned about Kim doing such a great job with keeping our technical program running so smoothly. So this question is, what problems have you encountered with either content or technicality? So Larry, have you encountered any problems?
No, I'm like Michael. I create problems with technology. They happen all about me, and I'm really grateful to Kim for the ease with which these programs have gone. Now, certainly there have been issues before, and there have been issues after related to them, but the programs themselves, the actual product I have not had problems with. Part of the people early on had some trouble getting in. There are people have found difficulties with the posters. All I can do is ask you to be patient. Kim is here very much as a part-time person. She's got a lot of stuff to do, and if you have questions overall about the program, then she it's probably easiest actually to ask Jan, Eric, or me. But be patient with us. There will be problems from time to time, I'm sure. But I'm pleased that it's gone so smoothly up till now.
Well, I'll take a stab at answering that question. If I've encountered any technical or computer problems with the Aging with Pride session, and I did have one. Windows decided to update at a most inopportune time. They didn't ask my permission. They just went ahead and did it. And there's absolutely nothing I could do about it. It was completely unexpected, and I was left very helpless. Nothing to do with Aging with Pride. Anyone else have any comments they want to share about technical issues with Aging with Pride?
I've actually experienced no problems at all. I am thrilled that it goes as smoothly as it does go. Getting in is not a problem. The notifications of the meetings are very helpful, and of course providing the link, but absolutely no problem at all. And I think the format works very well.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Perhaps I will say one thing only, Jan, is we have promised and intend to deliver on our promise of having recorded material on a YouTube channel. We have not had the opportunity to bring that to fruition, but it certainly it's got our attention. But
okay, let's move on then.
The next question is for you first, Jan, and then the audience. And the next, this is an important one, I think, for us, for the committee for planning. And what sort of subjects would you like to hear discussed in the future? And can you suggest speakers who might do those?
Yeah, well, Larry, this is certainly a question that I want to hear from each and every participant that's here today. Personally, I'd like to know more about the 60 Scoop LGBTQ kids and how they're doing today, if we could like make that a session. And I'd also like to know more about seniors and dating. Anybody have any suggestions for us to follow? I'm sorry, Larry, that would be you.
Oh, yes, I'm supposed to be doing that, aren't I? Let's throw it open to the audience. I'm sure people will have suggestions of topics that they would like to see discussed. I'll say at the outset, I'd sort of like to see us go through and make sure that the audience is aware of all of the various organizations that may be relevant. So we should have, for example, later on, we're having someone speak from Prime Timers, which is a social club basically for older gay bi men. So, but yeah, I'll just open the discussion to the floor for anyone who has any ideas that potential speakers.
I don't have an idea of who to speak.
No, just the topic is fine, right?
So we had mentioned at one point, I think it was during the Murray Billett and Jackie Ford session, that SOHI was very interested in establishing a reach out group or a community of gay and lesbians that could help him and the committee with insight when there are issues that involve the community. And I would like to see if, when and if that community, that committee gets together, have one of their spokespeople speak to this group about updates as to what's happening, the types of issues that they deal with, that sort of thing.
That we agree. And Jan, you may have some comment on that. I believe you did get a response from someone involved with the GLBT advisory committee from the city about looking at the work they're doing.
Yeah, I did contact sorry, the name is not in my head, but I wanted to get them to talk to us about city initiatives with GLBTQ issues. I think that's a little bit different than what Roy is suggesting. I think he wanted to see it more on the political level, but on the city administration level, you know, they do have those rainbow crosswalks. How did that happen? They do have, they entered the Pride Parade for the, I think, second time. Just what are they doing within the city to be all inclusive and stuff. So I'm working on that as a session in 2022.
And I'll add to that. I think a response came back from an advisory person, and they would presumably be able to contact us with the committee. Michael, do you know anything further about this topic?
No, I haven't heard anything further myself either.
Yeah. I think it is it's important that we hear certainly from that group. Any other, somebody has their hand up and I went past it wrong. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to write them down before my memory went boing. One person would be Marnie Panas, who is a trans activist. She certainly has a lot that she could talk about. Darren Hogan, who is right now in the middle of a Queer to Queer theater conference. You pick a topic and he'll talk about it. Not only is he involved in queer history, he's also involved in writing a book on the Pisces health spa, Pisces bathhouse raid. And he's also involved in a few other things. Chris Wells also has a queer history project coming up that was developed through Grant McEwen College along with Michael Fair. That's coming down the road. I'm not sure, it's not out yet. So when it comes out, it might be opportune to have them come in and talk about that at that point in time. Of course, I'll be here on January 6th to talk about my queer history project. So everybody come along January 6th. That's three. That's what
all those three people are excellent suggestions, and we've got them on our list, although we haven't actually finalized. I'm hoping I might be able to get Chris for March 31st, but we really, I think it's important that we reach out to all of the groups who have sometimes felt uninvolved in the larger community and make sure that we get. And one of the things we did, Tyus McKee sort of kept that going, was a series of intergenerational conferences with relatively young and the definitely not so young. And we thought that something about self-advocacy, there might be things analogous to gay straight alliances in schools that could be done in seniors. So there's certainly some opportunities there as well. And I think that's another important
I'll be speaking about
to reach. And trans issues, it's clear most seniors, and I would include myself in that, really don't know enough about the subject. So Marnie is an excellent thought, and I hope that we will be able to get her speaking here.
And I'll be speaking about some of the Queer Straight Alliance relationships to seniors as part of my talk on January 6th.
Oh, good.
Because we hope to develop something along that. Corey Winus just came to mind as well with the Chew Project. That involves youth. And certainly I think there's probably opportunities that the seniors can be involved with that program as well.
I agree.
Wouldn't mind hearing if the University of Alberta has a queer group, what they do and what their focus is.
ISMAS.
Yes. Well, those are lots of suggestions. Thank you, Ron, and thank you, Roy. Are there any other comments from?
Yeah, I'd like to throw in as well that a lot of what I see in the community is focused in on youth. And so perhaps getting someone from SAGE, who is biased here, but SAGE is an absolutely wonderful seniors organization that provides a wide variety of social work and supports, like a safe house for abused seniors and so on. Maybe get somebody from, maybe Karen McDonald, who's the executive director, to talk about the range of services, social work services and social services that are available to seniors. SAGE is an extremely proactive supporter of our community for seniors and has done a lot of work for us. So perhaps somebody like Karen McDonald or Bernice, who is the director of operations, to talk about what services are available for seniors, tax completion and so on.
Thank you very much, Eric. Yeah, I think it's important that we recognize that all too often, if they aren't specifically identified as services for queer seniors, we assume that it's not really of importance to us, and that's obviously erroneous. Joan, did I miss your hand? If so, I apologize.
That's okay, Larry. That's okay. More on what Eric was saying, he kind of hit on it a little bit, but I'd be interested in hearing something about our future as aging people and keeping control of things like maybe, well, our health, obviously, and going right to the bitter end, like right to die and those kinds of things, legislation. I'm always interested in that. I want to have full control in these things. And, I guess partly maybe your will would be involved with that. So somebody, directing us on those kinds of services.
Yes, important topics. We actually have some of those topics already coming up already planned for the first quarter of next year. So
awesome.
I'm going to look and see whether have I missed anyone else. If not, I'll turn it back to you, Jan, and you can see the question is what programs are planned for 2022.
Yeah, I'm just proving how absolutely useless I am at advancing the slides, but I hope you're laughing too. So Larry, I think it's timely after we heard all of these wonderful suggestions. So what programs do we have planned for the first quarter in 2022?
We opened the new year with Ron Byers talking about local gay history, the importance of gay history, the importance of not losing our identity, and continued to move forward. On the 13th of January, we have a recommendation from one of the members of Edmonton Pride Seniors Group, Liz Messiah, who's recommended Richard Boulay, who is an artist who has faced mental health challenges and overcome them, it would appear, and we'll talk specifically about the link between creativity and mental health. Eric, you'll be pleased to know that Laurel Whittingham from SAGE will be talking about the programs available at SAGE and That will be on the 20th of January. And finally, on the 27th of January, Duncan Mills, who is the president, I guess, of the local chapter of Primetimers International, will talk about that organization, which, as I've already said, is really a social program that aims to enhance the quality of life for older gay and bisexual men. And in February, we start off with Lindsay Patch from the Edmonton Public Library, who is going to talk about the spine labeling, the rainbow labeling of books of interest, I guess, at the Edmonton Public Library. I know nothing about this program, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know whether you want to add anything to that, Jan. Someone mentioned seniors and dating earlier on, and we have we will on February the 10th, have a speaker from Aspect. If you don't know what Aspect is, it is the Alberta Sex Positive Education and Community Center, or something very close to that. If it isn't, and I'm not, they may talk about dating and dating plus. I don't know, but they certainly will talk about sexuality. Assume on the 17th, Janice Irwin, who's one of the an MLA from the NDP and the NDP critic on GLBTQ2S plus issues, will speak, and she will bring along the seniors critic, Laurie Sigurdsson, who's another NDP MLA for Edmonton. And finally, on the 24th, where we will have two speakers from, or at least one, I'm not sure whether it'll be one or both speakers, from the Edmonton Mennonite Center for Newcomers, talking about programs which they run in conjunction with Pride Center to welcome queer newcomers. These probably won't mostly be seniors people, but to talk about the issues. And it's so important that we recognize that for all the local progress that's been made globally, there are still very huge problems for our communities. And the going here to finish off briefly, Laurie Winder will speak on March 3rd on inclusive housing. Laurie is a member of the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group and the executive director of the Ashburn, which has a formal program of recognizing and requiring
The first affirming
diversity training.
seniors center in all of Canada, the first affirming.
Yeah, maybe the only affirming. On the 10th, that was the 3rd. On the 10th, Joan has already said that she and Christy Harcourt will talk about their experience in running a gay-focused radio station, CJSR, sort of the Gay Wire. So that should be fun. And on the 17th is St. Patrick's Day. We have to have some gay Irish music, and we don't have that one fully sorted out yet, but we will have it by the time. I'm really pleased on the 24th that Dr. Michael Marshall from the Wellness Center will be the speaker, and he will speak on transitions and access to needed medical care and that sort of thing. On the 31st, we are still looking for a speaker. If there are any questions, I would.
That's quite a lineup already, and that's just the first quarter. So, and we've heard all of your suggestions from the last question, so thanks for that. And some of them we've already thought of, some of them we haven't. So we really appreciate your input here today. Okay, I'm going to advance the slide, and I'm not going to type in the chat box this time. I'm going to try to do it with the arrow keys. So Larry is going to ask me this question.
Okay, when can we add in-person meetings at Sage? And would you prefer, when we can do that, to attend those in-person meetings or to continue with the Zoom format?
So truly, we really want to be in person, but it's the public health restrictions that have precluded us from any in-person meetings at the moment. We're hoping to look at them starting February, but everything is just so much in the air with the public health restrictions that are happening. My personal preference would be that we have a combination of both a Zoom and an in-person when we're able to. I've felt very connected to this group, and I've been very grateful for this group, even though I'm here in Puerto Vallarta. So I would like to keep Zoom as a presence that's going on as well. Larry?
I move that we have the in-person meetings in Puerto Vallarta, and you invite us all down, Jack. Well, look, yes, I mean, our hope and our intent, and I believe it will happen, is that we will have both in-person and Zoom meetings. My expectation is that the opening will probably be a staged event with maybe individual counseling at the beginning, and then us, or probably only staff only at the beginning, and then fewer and fewer. So we don't know when we can do it. We know that Sage is still prepared to offer their Classroom C, which is where they will be held when we are able to hold them. I think it is important that we continue Zoom as well, both for seniors who have got mobility issues and so on, who may not be able to get to an in-person meeting. And so maybe what I'm going to do is just ask everyone, I just live around the corner from Sage, so my preference would be an on-person meeting provided there. And Jan, we've heard from you. Joan, what would your preference be if we had them both and you could choose in-person or Zoom?
Well, it's funny. I really missed at first our get-togethers because, I was used to seeing everybody in person and sitting around tables. And it's funny because over time I've really started to love the Zoom thing, and now it's like I don't know if I'd ever want to go back.
Yeah.
It's just so convenient. And I'm also living in the country now, so getting to the city, as I can attest to, yesterday I got stuck on Highway 2 for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But in the winter, especially. But I'm kind of liking the Zoom thing. So, but I would always be open to getting together in person, of course. But I do tend to favor the Zoom things now. So.
Okay, and Roy, I think is the next person. Do you have a preference?
I don't really have a preference. I find that the Zoom is very convenient, but I do like the personal attachment when we see each other in person, and I find that I think it's easier to get to know everyone in an environment where you're in the same room. So it would be nice to have a combination thereof so that anyone that can't attend can attend the Zoom. So no preference here.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Eric.
Yeah, I think either way, one, there's advantages to Zoom, with freezing rain that we've had, looking outside saying, glad I don't have to go outside today. But I think it's also easier to build a sense of community and connection when you are meeting in person occasionally. So I think a combination of both, and again, let me go back to doing some more baking, to do in-person ones and also to have the Zoom to allow people to get introduced to the program, and those who can't attend or who have, as you said, Larry, mobility issues, commuting issues. But I love the idea. I really miss the idea of getting together because I think you have more.
The other point
conversation.
I would say for Zoom is that for some speakers who can give us an hour may not be prepared, may not drive downtown to Sage where parking is difficult and so on. So there's the possibility, I think, that we could have an in-person group, but a Zoom speaker, as well as having Zoom audience members participate. Ron, you're next on my list.
I think it should be both in person and online. But a caution, if I can issue, Michael and I attended a function on Friday night by HIV Edmonton, which incorporated a Zoom presentation into a live into an audience as well. And the technical setup was not done very effectively. So if you're going to do the virtual and the in person, please make sure you test it out beforehand. It did not work out well at all. Would you agree, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important, Ron. And that's one of the reasons why we want to use Sage, and part of the stepwise process of getting to that will be to make sure that we get the technical stuff working. And given your expertise, we may well be calling on you to help any problems in there. I'm sorry that the program last evening did not go well. Michael, you're next.
Oh, yes, I was going to say I have my string bikini. I'm all going for Puerto Vallarta. Person there. You'd love to see me in my bikini, I can tell you. I think that too. So
I have a beautiful frock for you to wear.
oh, good. Other men around then too?
Many men. It's raining men.
Oh well, I'll be perfect. So yeah, both are fine with me.
Michael,
I look forward to being in person again. I'm much like Eric in that regard, kind of thing that too. I miss seeing people and the kind of rapport that you build among folks when you're physically there and that too. But I understand the value of Zoom as well. So I think it's a matter of both. I certainly expect I will come. I would try to attend most of them in person, at Sage. But yeah.
Thank you for that. Another possible opportunity to use your pink bikini is the brunch that you are very kindly hosting for first quarter. So if it may not be the ideal weather for a pink bikini.
Yes, that's would be a little difficult. Although I'd look fine.
I've noted Joan's suggestion about using Zoom games or something like that. That's something I guess I don't know very much about. So we'll have to. I'll have to talk. Lawrence, did you have any comments you wanted to make as to your preference for Zoom or in-person meetings?
I'm with the both. Like, if this virus is still going on and it's not good to be in person, Zoom is okay.
Zoom. So you prefer the Zoom?
I'm getting used to it now, but I like it in person. I miss the in-person meetings since few years now at Sage. I go to Sage a lot, and then. And then I joined another one at the general hospital. They had one on Monday morning for a few. There was about 4 of us, and I really enjoyed that. And we were showing films and movies and stuff like that too, like kind of thing. And all the topics that you have going on for next year. I miss some of it, few of them this past year, this year coming, but the new at the beginning, and I really enjoy it. And I have a friend, Ben Dart. He said that he's busy on Thursday, so he couldn't come to it because he's volunteering kind of thing at the cross cancer. So it's kind of nice to have it for both ways.
That's great.
Lawrence, it's nice to see you. I recognize your voice from the Senior Center Without Walls program. So it's nice to hear from you, and I'm pleased that you're coming to this one as well. You were one of our more faithful attenders.
Yeah, I'm just starting going to Seniors Without Walls, and I really enjoy it. The only thing I miss is seeing each other online, but that's their way there is. And maybe they should have a program like that too, with gay groups or something like that.
Right. Okay, we're at 11:57. I'm looking at the chat room. Joan has asked about people having access to the past sessions. We have them recorded, and hopefully they will become available, but at present they're not available. I guess that's the most honest answer. I mentioned the game Zooms, and Jan, your comment about the advertising was in relation to Joan's question?
No, about posting the new quarter on the website.
Yes.
We need to firm things up, and we have a particular look that we want to have. So we're working on it. We volunteers are doing the best we can.
Yeah, you'll actually, for the Pride Group newsletter, that should come out later today, the Aging with Pride thing, and that includes the first quarter thing. So,
Larry, if
thank
I may
you.
suggest, can we just zip through this last question? And if anybody has an answer to it, they can email either you or I if they have any suggestions on how we can increase our advertising, because I see our time is just flowing by.
We're just about that. So, sure, that seems like a reasonable, and I'm sure some of you will have suggestions. The one thing I guess I would ask of all of you is to contact your own personal social media networks, your email contacts and so on, where it's appropriate. Because I'm struck that many of the contacts of this group were personal, and I think that's often works the best. But yeah, but certainly we need to increase our social media presence and the like. So I am, it's now 11:59, so I just wanted to say thank you. Since we really dealt with evaluation today, we're not going to send you out a form asking you further to evaluate. That would seem to be a bit overkill. But I would like to thank again all of you, and to thank Kim for his signing and technical assistance. Next week will be our last December meeting, and it will be a virtual Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever festival you celebrate party, using with the party queens coming as special guests, and we will have a little discussion, but most it'll be the show, and that will be our last event for this calendar year. And on January the 6th, we will welcome Ron back. Oh, Jenna, I'm sorry, I didn't see you on the thing. Was there anything that you needed to or wished to say other than to accept my apologies, I hope.
No problem, Larry. Hello. No,
Hi.
we agree. We have become accustomed to the Zoom and quite enjoy that connection for convenience. And we haven't yet participated in online in person. So we look forward
So
to
you
that.
have,
Yep, thank you.
thank you so much. And again, my apologies for some reason your picture didn't come up in the.
Because I didn't turn it on. We were late,
Oh,
sorry.
oh, well, that's something I must remember that to check to.
No problem.
Anyway, done. So it's
Yeah,
noon.
thanks.
I thank you all again for what has been a very useful session for us and I hope for you. So happy holidays. Kim, if you want to sign us out and the core group can come back. Yes.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.